What's up YouTube, your boy ChasmRift here. Today guys, I have the video, kinda pissed off, this is my third take doing this, but what matters the most is, we had some wild area event news that you probably heard about, and this honestly brought a smile to my face when I initially saw it. For those who don't understand, wild area event happened, and it changed over what the promoted raid dens are. And this brought a smile to my face because it defeats a lot of the stuff I've been hearing, not just during this generation, a little bit before this generation started, but for things I've been hearing for years, which is about Pokemon being competitive, how it ain't a thing, Pokemon just isn't the game they be playing competitively, they don't support the game, people didn't believe them when they said they're gonna make efforts to balance the game and show support, which they have been doing by the way for years, and this one right here really proved it. And for those who don't understand what I'm talking about, you've probably seen these 6 Pokemon on my channel, maybe this one as well for sure if you see my latest videos, but you've seen these Pokemon for sure on my channel if you watch any of my Battle Stadium Doubles videos. For those who don't understand, these are 6 of the top 9, not even top 10, the top 9 Pokemon that are used on Battle Stadium, on the whole Pokemon circuit before everything got shut down. So yeah, this is pretty huge. Togekiss, the #1 most used Pokemon in terms of CP gain during the season. Excadrill, number 3 in this list. Dragapult, number 4. Tyranitar, number 5. Whimsicott, number 7. And Rotom at number 9. And for those who have been following the Pikalytics and all this other stuff I'm putting out here, you know that these Pokemon are still relatively on the top of the rankings, even though the season is pretty much over prematurely. And it shows that Pokemon's company, or Game Freak, whoever you want to credit, has been keeping an eye on us. Either they've been looking at their data from those who've been top cutting the BGC events, maybe they've been looking at their Battle Stadium usage data, things like that, but they know for sure that these Pokemon are strong, we know what's going on in the scene. Here you go guys, who want to use these Pokemon, here goes some raids, and on top of them raids, you get some TRs, and you also have a really good chance, 80% chance at some Super Berries, 50% chance at items that you can use to resell in game. What is that? What is that? You telling me there's a chance at rare candies, at bottle caps? Yeah, they're going in on this. So, soapbox moment. A lot of things I've been hearing, especially over the past year or so, that really makes me mad is that there's a lot of ignorance that goes on when it comes to Pokemon. There's 3 types of ignorance. One, people are like, oh, Pokemon's a kid's game, can never be taken seriously, Pokemon is only meant for 5 and 6 year olds. Second one is, oh yeah, Pokemon is meant to be played casually, people should never try to play competitive Pokemon. Pokemon should spend all the resources on just the casual scene whatsoever, all the resources. You don't care about doubles, don't care about BGC, none of that. And then the third one is, oh, making Pokemon teams takes too long. You gotta grind a lot of resources and everything. And I'm kinda here to debunk all those with this little soapbox moment. So the first one, Pokemon's a kid's game. For one, that ain't remotely true. For those who don't remember what happened in game for these games, which is redundant. In Gen 5, Getsis in Black 2 White 2 tries to murder you with Kira. Gen 6, Lissandra tries to nuke the world while willingly knowing that there will be a lot of collateral damage, well, really casualties on innocent Pokemon. Gen 7, a woman loses her husband into a wormhole, goes crazy, and gets obsessed over aliens basically, and basically disowns her own children at an obsessive degree. Gen 8, a man tries to release literal Armageddon to the region. And we're not even talking about all the side quest nuances and a lot of stuff they have going on there, because there's some pretty dark stuff, most notably in Gen 6 and the EVMZ quest that you could do in Gen 7. Don't believe me? Go and play those games and try to do what I'm talking about, or look at the dialogue in them games. So yeah, Pokemon isn't remotely as just kid oriented. On top of that, I say it's mostly family friendly, as in anybody can literally play this game, whether you're a 5-year-old or 30 something years old, anybody can play, because we all seen people of varying ages play Pokemon. It can't be a kid's game if we're seeing old people and people who have families play Pokemon. In fact, I argue some of the side games, like Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, this mainly probably is for the little kids, because they just Disney that up. And yeah, maybe that's what they're pushing their quote-unquote kid market towards. But I'm not gonna get too much into that. That's just people spewing out their own headcanon. Second thing is, Pokemon can't be competitive. It must be casual, blah, blah, blah. So the examples I'm going to bring to say that that's pretty much BS is, well, many of you watching this video, you play fighting games, or you're very familiar with the fighting game scene. I know my analytics. So many of you probably either heard or don't know what this game is, called Melty Blood, made by a developer named French Bread. Melty Blood never really got that much support as a game competitively, but they had a very passionate community, as they now have tournaments being ran inside of a Whataburger, unofficial tournaments, and the people just playing like 10, 12 man locals at a Whataburger playing this game. This game and the drive and passion of the community was enough to where French Bread's latest title at the time, Eunice, was able to top the charts and make it into EVO 2019. And it not only made it to EVO, it was middle of the pack in terms of entrance. So, well, I don't like how Mr. Wiz right here put Dragon Ball FighterZ right under Eunice, because we can see that this is a bigger number than Eunice. But I guess it's just to make the promotion look a little bit better because, you know, narcissism. But that's neither here nor there. But 1,156 people traveling out to an event. That's not bad at all. What I want to say is, though, is EVO is free. Well, that's not true. The only entry into EVO, I should say, is you don't need to get in by a special invite. All you gotta do is pay your fee online and then just fly to the event and you're all good. So for an event that you have to pay for, that's open entry, telling me a game like BlazBlue having 640 people compete, Eunice, who has a very dedicated community with 1,156 people, and a bunch of other games have, what, less than 2,000 people competing. Dragon Ball FighterZ interest numbers almost dropped 60% compared to last year. These games could be okay and labeled off as competitive games. And mind you, most of these games sell less than Pokemon Sword and Shield did. And these games are considered okay and considered competitive. Hell, even Smash gives no support by Nintendo. A fellow first-party IP of Pokemon gives no support by Nintendo. And these games are considered, you know, competitively driven and get the stamp of approval by people. But Pokemon can't? Like, let's be real, people. And just to combine both of those facts I brought up, how come there's this ignorance? This is just straight ignorance. You know, when I think of 2K and Madden, you know, I think about teenagers and adults having these salty runbacks when it comes to the game. Call of Duty. Oh, rated M game. Oh, you can't mention Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 in a conversation without somebody bringing up 12-year-olds using the N-word on party chat on Xbox Live. You just can't mention it. Fortnite. Oh, you know, Fortnite. Oh, you know, Fortnite is a kid's game, you know. Only kids play it. Yep. Fortnite, Call of Duty, and those other games, they're dropping millions of dollars into their competitive scene. You know, if we're getting $3 million as first place for a kids game, then I'm all in on it. And funny part about it is, the kids who are competing in the junior division at these regionals, they could probably kick most of you guys' butts in VGC. And I'm not even fronting. Okay, soapbox moment done. We'll get to the next one later. What's great about this is, for those who want to get into Pokemon, this is great. It's a great resource to get people into the game, because 4, maybe 5 out of these Pokemon, you could argue, are very hard to get your hands onto in the games. So Togekiss, the #1 most used Pokemon in the format as of right now. And I say right now because the format changes a lot when it develops. Togekiss. The issue about it is, you might have to go through a couple egg cycles before you get your good one. And that means you're going to have to breed a Togepi. Togepi is a baby Pokemon, meaning that if you had to get IV Togepi that you want to swap the parent out for, you're going to have to evolve it to Togetic via Happiness, which is a pain. Dragapult and Tyranitar. Both of these Pokemon are pseudo-legendaries, meaning that their egg cycle count is much higher than the likes of Excadrill. So these two could also be a very big pain if you wanted to roll the dice and get some good IV Pokemon version of it. Especially Dragapult. It's in a weird combination of egg breed Pokemon. Rotom has no gender, meaning that you can only breed with Ditto if you want to get yourself a good Rotom. So you're going to need a good Ditto if you want to have yourself a good Rotom by just naturally breeding. Whimsicott has a weird combination of egg breed. I think that's just the biggest reach out of all of these, minus Excadrill. But 4 out of these for sure are hard to get your hands on if you're starting out. The fact that they're giving them away for free practically through these promotional raids is a great way to get people into trying out competitive Pokemon. On top of that, we're giving TRs, we're giving a bunch of great items to start people out if they want to just hop right on in. So yeah, these are some great events. And like I said, there are people who are complaining that, like, oh, there's a lot of resource farming, there's a lot of, you know, driving circles in Pokemon. There's nothing important about it? Well, I argue this. You play games like a fighting game, for example. You know, people who want to get good at the fighting games, you know, they're going to have to sit down and lab. I argue that's the barrier of entry for Pokemon. You know, you can play a fighting game, you can mash buttons, or you can do the simple combos in the move list, and you can call it that. If you want to get better, though, you're going to have to invest time into learning combos. Consider this as your combo equivalent for Pokemon. Here goes a checklist I made for building Pokemon team that's competitive. You need 6 battle rate Pokemon. So for this example, we're going to use Excadrill, who really doesn't need a special attack. He does not need it. So we just have to worry about HP, attack, defense, SPDEF, and speed. Those are the 5 IVs that only matter when it comes to breeding the perfect battle ready Excadrill in most scenarios, to keep it basic. During the Ditto event of April 10th through the 15th, you're guaranteed a 5 IV Ditto through 4 and 5 star raids, and getting the 6 IV Ditto is not that hard if you reroll the dens. You need reference to that? Watch my EV training guide. So yeah, you do these raids, and you're guaranteed 5 IV Ditto. Meaning, if you wanted to get yourself a 6 IV Ditto, there's a 1 in 31 chance of just rerolling and getting yourself a 6 IV Ditto. On top of that, you're given a bunch of great items during this event. You're able to get power items, which will be useful later on in this video. You're given the Destiny Knot, which is useful for breeding, and just basically all the other baby Pokemon that you can breed for, or you can battle in these dens. You get a bunch of items that are useful for breeding or for EV training, which we'll talk about in a minute. So these events are mindful of that nature of, hey, you need to do this and that if you want to build a really strong, consistent, competitive team. Those who don't believe me, there are other events that have been happening in Pokemon during this Pokemon Community Day event for Pokemon Day. They're giving out a bunch of berries, they're giving out a bunch of TMs, they're giving a bunch of items such as Toxic Orb, Flame Orb, Light Orb, and they're giving you a bunch of cool items. And then you can battle these G-Maxes, get their forms, battle against a Mewtwo, and get yourself a bunch of monies and other items that could be useful for you while you're building your teams. So yeah, there's a lot you could do. So back to the checklist. You want to build your team. I recommend getting your 6 IV Ditto during that event, and maybe even doing a raise for the Pokemon you want to actually breed for. So do a 4 or 5 star raid. You're guaranteed about 4 IVs. I think 5 IVs is guaranteed, but I'm don't quote me on that. But basically do that. The time to complete this process, the first time will take about at least 2 hours. That's accounting for you needing to reroll Ditto dens. And after that, it should take no more than an hour to breed for all 6 Pokemon once you get the ball rolling. So yeah, that's pretty much it right there on the breeding portion. Option 2 is use experience candies, get the Pokemon to level 100, and use bottle caps. I don't recommend this in terms of long-term investment, because the first option, once you get your 6 IV Ditto, you're pretty much set. This option right here, this is just if you want to get your feet wet, or you got those annoying Pokemon that you want to breed, then yeah, I'll say yeah, just bottle cap them. Option 2, but you need the right nature. So yeah, step 2, United Parent has the right nature. You can either breed one of the hatch and wait and hope that one of the hatch Pokemon has the right nature and swap it out with the parent with the Everstone, or buy mints. So mints are worth 50 BP. So you're given random mint rewards if you battle in the battle tower, and you get a free mint. You get free mints as well as free BP for playing ranked. So if we come over here, so see, there's traces of me doing this take already. You do battle stadium, you do ranked if you're in beginner tier or Pokeball tier. So just doing one battle, you're given 2 free mints and ability capsule, which is useful if you breed a Pokemon but doesn't have the right nature. I mean the right ability, give it an ability capsule. And then you're also given free 50 BP. So really, this already covered your cost for another mint if you needed it. So yeah, just play one battle. For those of you who are talking about, oh, I'm scared, I don't want to get posterized, trust me, most of the established players and those who are good have already been playing. So they're either in Ultra Ball or Master Ball tier. Because if you played ranked at any given point and you got high enough, when the ladder resets, you're knocked down to Great Ball tier. So if you're starting out and you're in the beginner tier, odds are you're not playing some of the more established players up here. So don't worry about that. Just hop on. Doesn't matter if you win or lose. You get free resources. But back to step 3, EV training. You got 3 options. Option 1, which I don't recommend, use power items to EV train wild Pokemon through wild encounters. I really don't recommend it because there are 2 more efficient methods. Option 2, buy vitamins and power up Pokemon that way. Or number 3, use Pokejobs in the raid den time manipulation. Method 2 and 3 takes no more than 10 minutes. And really, this is just talking about method 3. Method 2, if you got the money, just buy the vitamins and boom, you're done. Method 3, you gotta have to raid then manipulate. So you're gonna be going a little bit back and forth at things. Again, reference my EV training guide, you'll see what I'm talking about. Number 4, held items. Many are given to you during your adventure or can be found in the overworld. Same for berry trees. Like items, use Cerebi to find the right berry trees. So if you want to find yourself, a scope lens, you want to find yourself a super berry for your Pokemon, use Cerebi. They'll tell you if it's in the world for you to just obtain, or if you gotta make sure or if they're Battle Tower exclusive. If they are Battle Tower exclusive, rack a BP. Simple as that. The time for this varies, because I can't predict that accurately for anybody who's just watching this. But like I said, we had events. They're giving out a bunch of items, super berries. They're giving out TMs, giving out items like a life orb, which is pretty common to see in doubles. They're giving you ability capsules if you did some of these events. Basically, be active during the wild area events. You build yourself a bunch of resources. It debunks this idea that it's impossible to hop into or it's too tedious. So I would say for the first time when you're doing all this, it can be tedious. It can feel like a drag. That's if you have absolutely nothing to worry, like nothing to use. But hey, there's Pokemon Home, there's Discords, there's things of that nature. You don't have to start off from absolute zero. But this is just to show, like, hey, if you did start off at absolutely zero, you can get a bunch of items and resources, and within a week, you can get the ball rolling and starting to build your teams. I want to thank you guys for watching this video. If you think I was preaching during that soapbox moment, comment preach down below. Like I said, let me know if you feel like what I said it makes sense, or if I'm justified, or if I'm missing something completely off with all this. Like I said, I'm not going to die on the hill of saying like, oh, I'm against games being made for children, or I'm against casual gaming, because there are games that I play that I'm casual in. I think it's hypocritical if I'm passionate in one game, I keep up the scene, I'm all for the game, making changes and updating to be very, very, competitively driven. But on the other hand, games that I am not that invested into, I think it's very hypocritical of me to say like, hey, they gotta be just casual first, because that's just being very selfish when you think about it. Like, how is it fair that your games get the best of the best for that scene, but not other scenes can flourish? And since we're right now in this quarantine where there's millions of people losing jobs, we should want the esports scene to grow as much as possible, so that could be an alternative outlet for many people to have an income with. So with that being said, that's pretty much it. I'm about to get out of here. Gates hella open. If I can close them, let me know down below if you think what I said makes sense or not. Don't roast me too badly in the comments. So bye.